Welcome into Hometown Heartbeat. I am Zach Walker, your big, beautiful, bearded host. Checking in with producer Connor Antonio, Tony Mac, filling in for DJ Dallas. We've got Russell Johnson, the president of the school board, running for mayor in the city of Athens, joining us. There was a debate last night that no one knew about. That's frustrating. But I was fortunate to get the link sent to me, and I got to watch it. I told the people I would declare a winner at some point in this segment. So it may not be popular, but I'm going to put my opinion out there, and that's probably a terrible idea, but we're going to go for it anyways. Before we jump into much, I just wanted to address the article that came out briefly. Sure. I want to give you an opportunity. Obviously, a lot of allegations in that, a lot of I talked with the author yesterday at length. Seems like a lot of the stuff is reputable, but it's also seemed like, and he said, most of it was pointed at Limestone County, not Athens City.
Right.
So I know you can't talk much about it because it's ongoing, and with your position, there's some liability there. But I just wanted to give you a minute to address whatever you wanted to address, say what you need to say. Had I not brought it up, I would have been crucified, because to ignore that in the middle of an election cycle is a bad policy.
Sure.
But I do want to give you the opportunity to just address it and say what you need to say.
Sure. So I read the article when it came out, and you're right. It was really focused on Limestone County. It did mention the situation we had with our superintendent. That's still an ongoing situation that we're looking at. You know, when that first happened, I think it was June the 9th. That was actually the day I had my kickoff campaign, so that's not how you really want to
perfect timing
to do that morning, right? But, you know, we as the board, we took action. We had a board meeting on the 11th. We put Dr. Holliday on administrative leave. We really don't know a lot of the situation. There was a lot of things in that article that I had not heard before.
Paid or unpaid, just out of curiosity? Leave.
He is on paid leave with the contract. He has a contract,
Sure.
and I mean, we could have dismissed him, but we'd have paid a lot more with
I got that.
legal fees and those kind of things. So we did that. We put Miss Beth Patton in place as the superintendent. You know, I believe that God puts people in the right place at the right time for the right reason, and she's absolutely that right person. Been in the system for decades, trusted by everybody. And then we sent out a message to all of the teachers. You know, it was unfortunate because school was out at the point when this happened, and we said, hey, you know, don't let this be a distraction to you. Teach our kids. Let's work on a plan to get those schools open. Let's continue to stay focused on get Athens Elementary done, and we'll handle this situation, and we'll move forward from it. But don't let that be a distraction. So that's really all I can say. You know, any other questions, I'd just have to direct you to Dr. Holliday's attorneys. I will point out that, you know, right about that same time we had a audit. The auditor said that, you know, it was a perfect audit. There's no problem. You know, the funds there. There's no missing funds. If we've had some people not doing what they're supposed to be, the process will work, and we'll find that out.
And in the interest of transparency, I called you yesterday and I said, hey, you know, we need to address. I mean, we
Sure.
need to address this. And I asked you a question. I said, as school board president, like, you're also running for mayor. These people are going to go make a vote. Sure. And with that article coming out, none of this points to the board. None of this points to you.
None at all.
Is that accurate?
That is absolutely accurate. That is absolutely accurate. There's been no allegations. There's been no, you know, they haven't come to the school board and said, hey, we need to see this. Now, they have requested some information, the authorities, and we have been totally cooperative. You know, everything they've asked for, we've provided to them. So we've been assisting, and, you know, we're ready to get this over with, however it comes out.
Sure.
And let's get it behind us. But let's get focused on these schools, get on these kids.
And we'll definitely talk about that because schools are opening on Monday, and you want to address that. But before you do, I see you brought something with you today.
I did. So I watched the mayor's I think you had him here on Wednesday, and he and I share a passion. I'm addicted to Diet Sun Drop just like he is, and he talked a little bit about the inability now to get the Diet Sun Drop in a can. He talked about a lot of his contacts that he had, and I just wanted to reach out to the mayor and say, I have contacts too, and that if you need Diet Sun Drop in a can, I've got a dealer. that can handle that for you. Meet me behind City Hall tonight at midnight. Blink your lights about 3 times, and I'll hook you up with the dealer, and I'll get you hooked up with these diets.
But just for his wife, just for his wife.
Just for,
right?
okay,
I got you. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I'll help Ronnie too. It's you can always tell if somebody's a native Athenian if this is their drink of choice.
It's here's the deal, and I want to make this abundantly clear again. Like I don't have sides in this. Ronnie's a good friend. You've become a friend. I'm super excited to see. I think we have great choices in Athens. I really do.
We really do.
And my goal in all this is making sure that Athens has the opportunity to select a leader that is going to lead effectively, financially, conservatively, but also focusing on growth. And so I'm excited. We're like 10 days out now or something like that?
I think so.
Yeah.
I have this app on my phone, and when I first, it's called Countdown. That you can put dates in. And when I first put the election day in, it was around 900 and something days. And I didn't check it this morning, maybe 10, 9. I'm not sure, which is just unreal. We've been going at this pretty hard for 2 years, making plans, and I'm excited about We've got a lot of work to do between now and Tuesday. We've got volunteers ready to go, and we got something planned really for every day for the next 9 days, 10 days, whatever it is.
It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be close. I mean, I do. I mean, if I'm being honest, I think it's going to be close. And
I'm a novice in this. I think this is Ronnie's 5th campaign, and I think it's Brian's 6th. So, they got the experience. They may have a better input on, how things are going. This is the first time I've tried this, and so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we will for sure. The debate last night was good. Mark from District 5 was very passionate. I enjoyed listening to him talk.
And we do have 4 good choices in this, and I know these guys. I didn't know Mark as much, but Mark and I talked a little bit afterwards the debate, and I introduced myself to him, and he's got some issues that he's very passionate about, and I said, hey, good for you. You went out there, you got your message out, and it may resonate with the citizens in Athens. If it does, good. I'm glad you got it out there, but let's work together either way.
Sure.
How this goes. Matter of fact, he and I are going to have lunch next week.
Good.
And talk about some of the issues that are passionate with him.
Well, he seemed like a great fellow. That I think he'd be good on a city council for sure. And representing those citizens of District 5.
He and I talked about that a little bit, and the 4 city councilmen that we have, I know them all. They're good guys. But, it would be good that I think every election needs to be contested.
Yes.
That we don't need to get people complacent in their positions and make sure that we're, pushing the issues and bringing them forth and getting things done. And when you get people, in the corporate world, we reorganized, it seemed like every 3 or 4 years. And we would do that to align with customers and do things. But it did energize people.
Sure.
And it caused you, if you ever get comfortable in a position, you need to evaluate where you're at. You always need to be striving for that next thing. What can we do? How can we do it better?
No question.
And go for it. And so I think, elections are good. It's there's no country like the U.S. that we have this ability to get out. I love that debate last night. I wish the format had been a little bit more open, but the chamber did it the way that they wanted to do it, and that's great. We had a good time, but we need to do that more.
We do. We might organize one more.
Let's do it. And
we can live stream anything we want to live stream, anywhere we want to live stream.
Sure.
It. So
set it up.
It may be worth. Maybe I just thought about that sitting here, but it may be worth trying to do one.
Yeah. I have said all along in this campaign, I will talk to anybody, anytime, anywhere about any subject that they want to talk about. And let me tell you, a lot of people have taken me up on that. I've got another little appointment right after this. I'm having lunch with some other people. Lunch yesterday with some people that had some things that they wanted to discuss that they'd like to see in the city. And so, let's do it. Let's discuss. And, we're all adults. We'll be civil about it. And, there's good opponents. I respect Ronnie Marks for what he is.
No
He's a veteran. I think Bronze Star in Vietnam. When he's running around in the jungles of Vietnam, I'm running around here in Athens in a diaper.
Sure.
He served his country. I think it's very admirable that he has taken a grandchild on that he's having to raise now. That's not an easy thing to do. Known Brian Terry for decades. He a good teacher. One of my kids had him. in his drafting class, and he really liked Brian. And as we talked about Mark, I don't really know Mark, but got to know him last night and hope to get to know him better. So, it's Athens. And, we all want the same thing in the end. We want what's best for this city.
Yeah.
And regardless of who wins this, I think we'll come together and we'll help each other. And we're all striving for the same thing, to make this the best place it can be.
Well, I'm going to take this time to say what I need to say about the debate last night. I just want to be clear. I'm talking about the debate. Who performed very well last night, and who I thought gave great answers and had great. Honestly, Mayor Ronnie did a fantastic job, and he's done a great job with the city, and certainly. But I think you did a great job. I said I was going to call a winner, and I'm not, because I don't know that I can. But ultimately, you and Ronnie did a great job. There were some answers on both sides that kind of. Okay, both good and bad, and so I think that it'll be interesting to see. I think you pointed out some things, and I think he had the opportunity to respond to them, and I think that was good for the people to understand. I think a lot of us had same questions, and I think we got those answers, and so for that, I appreciate and I thank you for that. But ultimately, again, and I want to say this: I think Ronnie is an incredible man. He's a friend. I trust him. I believe in him. But in terms of where we're going, we just have to think through that and think through the growth and think through that foresight and the sewer issues that he and I talked about on Wednesday. I know got addressed last night. In fact, something very near and dear to me was discussed directly last night. And so, I think there's a lot of that we need to discuss. And I know I'm kind of brushing around things, and everyone that's listening knows why. I do business in this city. I live in this city. When it comes to a presidential election, I'll call it. And when it comes to a governor even, or senators, whatever, I'm all in, and I'll tell you who I believe and who I'm voting for. I'll be happy to do that. But in this election, it would be unwise for me to do that. And you understand that, and Ronnie understands that. And so I'm not trying to be soft, or I'm not trying to dance around anything, but I'm certainly trying to be conscientious of the fact that I believe in both men. I'm not going to be disappointed either way, and so I want to just gotta give you a platform, give Ronnie a platform, and let the people decide, right?
That's right, and I think the show you've got's great.
I appreciate
focusing on local things.
I appreciate that. You're listening to Hometown Heartbeat here. We've got Russell Johnson running for mayor in the studio. When we come back, we're going to talk about the schools reopening on Monday. We're going to talk through that. Russell's also the president of the school board here in Athens City, and has some unique perspective on that and wants to talk about some things there. So when we come back, coronavirus in the schools. We're opening on Monday. You're listening to Hometown Heartbeat. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Hometown Heartbeat. I am Zach Walker, your big, beautiful bearded host, checking in with producer Connor, Antonio, Tony Mac, filling in for DJ Dallas. Every time I do that, I get a little smile out of old Antonio over there. How you like my little...
That's the best way anybody says Tony Mac. And I also like anybody calling on this station Tony Mac, because Dale thinks that's the worst radio name ever. So
I think it's a great radio name. I think it's... And from now on, I'll never call you... I don't know. Antonio, Tony Mac! It feels better when you say both. Anyway, so we've got Russell Johnson in studio, the president of the school board, also challenging for mayor of the city of Athens, and you want to talk about the schools are reopening. And we were just having a conversation off air about football, and obviously with Tony Max, with his sports lean, curious about having fans in the stands. So we'll attack all of it. So I'm just going to give the floor to you.
Sure.
Let's talk through. We're reopening on Monday. Is everybody going to die?
No, I don't believe so.
All right. Well, that's settled. So we're good.
I have a granddaughter that will be starting kindergarten on Monday, and is so excited. So, that was a tough decision that we had to go through, and we're still in uncharted waters. We don't know what the end effects of this virus is going to be. It's going to be very interesting 10 years in the future to look back and see what worked, what didn't work. So, we're going with the best data that we have. But we absolutely had to get those schools open. There was just no question about it. One of the things that was that kind of touched me about this was my wife works at the front desk at one of the elementary schools, so she's the person you deal with when you come in, knows all these kids. And we were in Publix or where it was, and this little kid ran up and just hugged her, violated every social distance rule or whatever. And, it was a sweet thing. And she said, I know this kid and the family, and he doesn't get that affection at home. So, the schools are so important. I mean, if you looked at the number of people we fed during the shutdown, that they rely on it. And so, people think, well, the decision is to open the schools or close the schools. That's really the easy decision, because each one of those paths you go down, there's hundreds of other things that you have to do. So if you say, okay, we're not going to open the schools, you've still got to worry about, we still got to feed those kids. We have so many kids that are in single parent homes that mom or that dad that's raising that kid has to go to work. So how is that kid going to be able to do the virtual learning? They need it, and especially the younger kids, and that's what's important. You open the schools, and so you go down that path. Okay, what are the plans we have in place? And I have to say, our administrators, Beth Patton and all of her team, our principals, our teachers, have been wonderful. And I have not had a single teacher call me and say, we don't need these schools open. Every single teacher has said, I've got to get back in my classroom.
Come on.
We have good procedures in place. Is it perfect? No, it's not. I heard a general say one time, no plan survives the first contact with the enemy.
Everyone has a plan till they get punched in the mouth.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we're going to adapt to it. We've got things where we're kind of keeping kids isolated in groups, and so we'll do that. We know what we're going to do if we get a case here, a case there. Don't panic. One of the things that frustrated me too, Facebook. I don't know if Facebook's a good thing or a bad thing.
The old face bag.
But it's out there, and somebody posted. I saw a post that said, y'all are idiots if you let your kids go to school. Well, no, you're not. It's a choice, and we have given the parents a choice. You can go virtual, and if that's the best option for you, that's a great choice. Do it.
Hey, listen here, face bag. I'm the authority on who's an idiot around here, okay? All right? That's me.
We'll
I reserve that right.
And if you make the choice that I want to send my kids to school, that's a good choice too. Don't be, let's don't divide the city over I'm going to school or I'm not going to school. Each person has to make that choice. And I'll go back to the teachers too. Like I said, they're all for it. I mean, we have a couple of teachers that needed some special accommodations for some health reasons, and we've been able to accommodate that, but it's a small number. I was reading or saw a news article. I think it was teachers in California are threatening to strike because they got to go to school, and they're putting all these non-education things in there. If I was on the school board of one of those and the teachers struck, if I saw them in Walmart or Publix or whatever, I think I'd fire them on the spot, because okay, you can't come to this school, but you can still come to Walmart.
Fact.
And you can do, let's be consistent. Let's get the politics out of that. And let's focus on providing the best educational experience we can for our kids. And we're going to do that in Athens.
Getting the politics out of anything is impossible. Yeah. The reality is this, on the old face bag and the Twittergram and all the social media things out there, it's the vocal minority that is the loudest.
Right.
What everyone and I've learned this really more so since I've been on the radio than probably any other time in my life, because every day I get told all day long, everyone is like AOC. Everyone is like, everyone's liberal. Everyone hates Trump. Everyone this. And the reality is, and it's not even about a party. It's not about partisanship. It's not about any of that. Americans have an innate ability to siphon through BS, for lack of a better term, and unfortunately, the younger generation is struggling with it because they were never given that common sense logic filter. My mom whooped it into me. Yeah. I mean, just straight up whooped it into me, and so it's. These teachers that are, and the thing in California, they're demanding free health care for every illegal alien. It's like, that is not you. Hey, show up and educate kids.
Yeah. Yeah,
you're not a policymaker. You're not a commentator. I'm a commentator. I can say whatever I want within reason about any given subject because I'm supposed to commentate. I'm not a journalist. I don't have to provide sources. I'm a commentator.
Right.
I mean, for the love of all that's good and holy, look at some of these commentators out here, especially on left and right. They both go crazy, and so I act like a commentator. If I start trying to petition for health care, and now I'm becoming a legislator.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if with my platform I have the ability to create change, great. If it's in my lane, make that change, create the movement, the momentum. But outside of that, you can't hold education hostage over policy. You're not a policymaker.
And again, I want to go back to our teachers. They're amazing. I mean, the teachers we have in Athens, I will put them up against any school system anywhere in this state or this country. They do an amazing job. They understand what's important, and that is educating these kids. I can't speak highly enough of the job that our system has done, and just keep going.
You're on Hometown Heartbeat here on VNN. I've got WVNN, sorry. I've got Russell Johnson, candidate for mayor, president of the school board here. We just talked about schools are reopening, and I'll sum it up. Everyone's not going to die. We're going to be okay. When we come back, we'll talk about his mayoral race. We'll talk about we're 10 days away, and it's time for you to make your mind up. Start making your mind up on who you're voting for. Give us a call, 1-866-494-WVNN. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Hometown Heartbeat. I am Zach Walker, your big, beautiful, bearded host. Checking in with producer Connor, Antonio, Tony Mac, filling in for DJ Dallas. We got Russell Johnson in studio, running for mayor, president of the school board here in Athens City. We were just talking off the air about how you were a referee, and we started talking about sports and sports facts. And my father-in-law tunes into the show quite frequently, and I was just telling him about how one of his party tricks is he knows every NCAA mascot, literally, you could be South Alabama School for the Blind, and he's like, eye patches. Like, he knows who every single mascot. It's the most fascinating thing in the world, because literally my wife and I'll sit there and we'll Google obscure teams in the middle of nowhere conference or whatever, and he knows them, and it's hilarious. Not that that's relevant to anything, but I thought it was funny. Okay, we're 10 days away. It's time for folks to start making up their minds. It's time for them to start preparing to vote for whoever it is they're going to vote for. Most people probably know. But for those who maybe, for instance, I didn't even know there were 4 candidates. I talked to Brian Terry yesterday on the phone for the first time because I wanted to give him a platform. I probably need to get Mark in here and try to do that. I don't know if you got contact info for him, I probably need to give him an opportunity to come in and just in the interest of fairness. But we want to get to the phones. So if you have a question for Russell Johnson, 1-866-494-WVNN, 1-866-494-WVNN. We want to hear from you this segment. We want to hear from you guys in terms of questions about the election, questions about policy, questions about anything that you may have. He'd love to talk about them and answer them and give you guys the opportunity. We did the same thing with Mayor Ronnie, and he enjoyed it a ton. We had a couple good calls. So like I said, if you've got a question about schools reopening, I mean, you've got the school board president of Athens City and challenging mayor opponent sitting here in studio. Give us a call, 1-866-494-9866. In the meantime, while the rabid hordes of people are picking up their phones and dialing rapidly, I'm going to give you the floor. What is it? I mean, you probably learned more last night in the debate, and you probably have a better understanding now of what you believe your upside is, or what you believe your competitive advantage is. So go ahead and tell the people.
That's one of the things that in the debate that I asked people to do was to go to my website, mayorjohnson2020.org. I put a very detailed biography, sort of my life story out there, the work experiences that I had, and compare my qualifications with the other 3 candidates, and see which one of those qualifications line up the best with what we need to be for a mayor. And I think where I bring a unique perspective into this is my corporate experience, running a 1,000-person organization, doing the workforce development. I've been on both sides of the equation for the business development and going out and vetting cities. I talked last night a good bit about, I tried to bring 300 high-tech jobs here, and the city just could not understand what that meant. How I mean, I think they understood what the impact would be, but what it would take to get that those jobs here. Going back to this Diet Sun drop, I'll tell you a story. When we were vetting those cities, Mobile was one of the cities that we went to, and they called one day and said, "Hey, we've got another facility that we want you to look at." And of course, I said, "Okay." They sent a private plane to Pryor Field. I got on it. I'm a licensed pilot, so I talked myself into getting at least in the right seat of the plane and going down there. But when we landed in Mobile, and went to the building, they had this metal, nice little display and stuff with a case of these on ice. You can't buy these in Mobile. You can't really get them past Coleman. So they had done their research. When Florence, Alabama was another city that we were vetting, and they knew that I had a long history of being a football referee. They have 2 SEC football officials that live in Florence, and when we went to dinner that night, they had them sitting beside me. And so we were able to swap war stories on refereeing. Auburn was another place that we went to. They knew that I was an Auburn graduate, and I also had a long history working for the Defense Intelligence Agency, doing a lot of contract work. General Burleson was the leader of that. General Flynn's the one. He came in after that, and so he and doing some work with the university. We went to dinner there. They made sure he's sitting by me so we can talk about that. So they knew
Sales.
they knew how to market and do the things. We didn't experience that in Athens. So I know what on that side that it's going to take to do that, and the infrastructure that we have to get in there. We've already talked about the education. I think I'm uniquely qualified. I know Brian's has been a school teacher for a long time, but leading a school system for 15 years, I understand the importance of what that school system is and the reputation that Athens High School and Athens City School has, and how important that is. I don't know how many tours I've done of the high school with prospective business people wanting to look at the city. So that's key. I brought it out in the debate last night. When we were building that new central office and the high school, I was insistent on they have to be top notch, because before that, when somebody came and wanted to register their kid, we were sending them to the basement of the Clinton Street building that we're going to tear down here soon. And it's like, that's not going to win families over. I wanted that central office to be a place. Well, first of all, I wanted a central office. We had that scattered everywhere all over the city, but we wanted to make a statement. We wanted that high school. When you pull off that interstate, we're sending the message, hey, Athens is serious about education. This is where I want to raise my family. So I think I bring that perspective in. There's some organizational things in Athens City. I'm a technologist, did that. We don't embrace technology in running our city government, and I understand how to do that. And, we can spend a little money up front to save a lot of money on the back end.
Sure.
And we need to embrace that. I mean, we still have people walking in backyards reading water meters. We need to look at getting that kind of replaced. You can do that automatically now. Same with electric meters and things. So let's start working on those kind of things. Yeah, it's going to be an investment, but the long term.
How many salaries?
Yes.
But
and
my
how much
question
health
would be,
care and all
are
of
you
that?
going to lose jobs though?
Are you going to lose jobs, or are you going to re-engineer jobs?
Okay. That's my question.
Yeah.
I mean, the first thing I hear is, I love the idea, but will we lose jobs for people that need them? And re-engineering them is great plan.
And that's another thing. In my job, I had to do workforce development, and it was one of my responsibilities to always be looking. Okay, what piece of work are we going to go after in 5 years, in 10 years? What skills do my employees need? What is the gap? What do we not have? And then how do we fill that gap? Well, that's exactly what we need to do in the city. This Toyota plant is absolutely a fabulous thing for Athens going in. But and I know that there's going to be recessions. That plant won't last forever. A long time ago, the Saginaw plants were booming here, and now there's 3 big empty buildings sitting over there. that could happen again. Those jobs could be replaced by technology jobs. So let's start looking where we are going to be in 5 years, in 10 years to be able to replace those. And another thing that I think our city's got to do is we've got to be good corporate citizens to our citizens here. We have to, when I was on the school board, where the Catholic churches, they wanted to expand their parking lot, and they needed like 15 feet of our property that we were never going to use. We went through it is much harder than you can imagine to sell a strip of land 15 feet to a church.
Oh no, I can imagine.
But we said, we need to do that. We need to be a good neighbor. I think the city messed up when they built the new city hall. They tore the old one down. The Methodist Church wanted that property. They're landlocked.
Yeah.
And the city, and they offered a premium price for that property, but the city wouldn't do it. They said, no, we want to build the city hall there. We could have built that city hall somewhere else, sold that piece of property to the Methodist Church. And I think it's kind of detracted maybe a little bit of the look that, those two buildings, they tried to match them, but it looks awkward to me. The same where this new Toyota plant is. I had a family on Sandiford Road, several families that reached out to me, and I went and talked to them. They said, we get that there's this economic development. We get it. We're not opposed to that. And they said, but what we are extremely frustrated about is the way we were treated during this process. Couldn't get meetings. We're told one thing, and the very next day something different was done. And, the city of Athens owes those families at least a big thank you. Because, it's built right in their front yard. And, I've talked a little bit about the city planning on that. That's where Jimmy Gill Park was. Like 2 years before, they built a big new pavilion there at Jimmy Gill Park. And then let's tear the whole thing down to put a plant there. And, maybe that's the right place. But if we had that long-range plan in place, you're not doing that. You're not building something, tearing it down, and then rebuilding it, spending those money and doing it somewhere else. We need some planning on traffic. Mark Wilson in the debate last night brought up, there's no business development in his neighborhood and in his part of town. Well, it's the way the traffic patterns are, it's kind of hard to get to that part of town. Sure. So let's look at some of the, what can we do to increase the traffic flow and to make it so that people can get to those places. Let's, instead of we talked about the sewer system, instead of, okay, let's add the sewer here, let's add the sewer here. It's like, hey, let's take a deep breath. Let's get some qualified people in here, and let's build a comprehensive plan for the sewer everywhere. So we're not just like, okay, we're going to add this trunk, and now we're going to add this trunk. Oh, we got to go put a pump station here. Let's figure out what that needs to be now to cover the entire city of Athens. That don't mean you're going to go do it, but at least have that plan in place so that you can do it, and it's not piecemeal as you go along. Do the planning. So there's so many things like that can be done. There's budget issues that I think needs to be done. Athens has they are self-insured on their insurance, health insurance. Well, when I was at SAIC with 35, 40,000 people, we were too, but that's a big risk pool. 300 people, that's COVID going around. That could have bankrupted the city. So we need to look at those kind of things. So there's just so many things that I'm excited about to be able to get into City Hall and tackle and to get it done.
Well, if nothing else, what we've done is having contested election has allowed us to get the best out of everyone. And so we're all excited about that. You're listening to Hometown Heartbeat. This has been your Friday morning edition. Russell Johnson for mayor joining us this morning. Tony Mack on the ones and twos. Thank you for your help all week. We're excited to have Dallas back, but we'll miss Mr. Tony Mack nonetheless. Connor, as always, have a great weekend. We love you. Go to thehometownheartbeat.com. Watch live, listen live, get the podcast. We'll be back next week.